Welcome, everyone, to another sneak peek preview of the NYLA SSL conference, which is right around the corner. It is next week, May 4th through 6th at the Millennium Hotel in Buffalo. For all sorts of information, you can check out our website, ssl2017.org. And if you're watching this on Friday, the day that it goes live, take a look at our Gray Line tour link, because today is the last day to sign up for the tours. But you can also see a lot more there. You can see SCAD, you can see more of these sneak peeks, you can see conference descriptions, registration information if you're a procrastinator like some of us maybe tend to be. Joining us today is Anna Rose Foley. She is going to be presenting on Google Apps for Education in the School Library, Administration and Advocacy for the 21st Century Librarian. She's going to be in Roosevelt B on Saturday at 11:15. Hi, Anna Rose. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a middle school librarian here in Ithaca, New York. This is my 6th year in the district, my 8th overall. And yeah, I absolutely love my job. I love being at middle school, and I continue to find new ways to grow and learn from my students and for my students with regard to literature and technology and information literacy. So it's just, we have the best job.
I agree. And the more that I mean, I'm officially K-12, but the more time I spend with middle schoolers, the more I appreciate them. And I won't say that they're my favorite, but they're my favorite. I think like it's a good age.
Yeah. I mean, there's something special about 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, special in a good way and special in a frustrating, challenging way. But, you know, I really enjoy working with them throughout the year, and the level of competency that has really happened in just the last couple of years, due in large part to my district going one-to-one with Chromebooks, has really just streamlined my job so much. I no longer do any technology instruction per se. I don't tell them how to do anything. They just know, or they just figure it out. It's really interesting, very different from even just 3 or 4 years ago, where you had to tell them where to click and all that kind of stuff.
And I think that that's one of the really important things about using technology and instruction is that they can figure those things out for themselves. So that's fantastic. But yeah, you're going to be talking in your presentation about Google Apps from an administrative and advocacy point of view. Can you tell us a little bit about what your presentation will be like?
Sure. I mean, my description, as we previously talked about, is very accurate. Each of the different items listed in it, from the basics of Drive to calendar, doc slides, even sites a little bit on the basic level, will be talked about and addressed, and I can obviously show what I'm using and them for and doing with them with students. But it's taking it to that next level where I feel like my presentation has the edge. How I'm using Classroom specifically for the school library. This program was developed because I went to so many workshops on Google Apps, you know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and they're never about the school library. I just had to figure out how I wanted to use them in my program, and now I am. And I don't necessarily think the content is revolutionary, but I do think I am doing some special things that perhaps other people haven't thought of. And I say special because they're not that challenging to implement. Yes, your district does have to have Google Apps, which they're not using that word apps anymore. It's actually just Google for Education. But if your district doesn't subscribe to that, you won't have access to Classroom, which is just the one thing that you don't have access to that's outside of the regular G Suite, which is what they refer to all of the other apps as. But I mean, even how I do library sign in and sign out using a Google form on a computer, and then it pops directly over to a spreadsheet, and I'm able to check the sign-in from my office rather than walking over to a physical sign-in sheet where you can't read the kid's handwriting. and how that's shared with administrators and that kind of stuff, you know, not challenging, easy to implement, but maybe you're not already doing it.
I have to say, I love this because I know, no, it's totally fine. I know that we mentioned before, this is the second one that I was really excited about, but it's sadly at the same time as my own presentation. And I'm even more excited now because I am also going to be talking about library attendance and usage, not using Google, but using like your automation system. So now I'm sad. So it's another thing, like it's something that makes your life so much easier, but I think that not a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as classroom goes too, and the advocacy piece, because I think, you know, signing into the library, that's an administration end kind of deal. But as far as advocacy, I use that classroom. Like I have a library classroom where I post the database passwords and announcements about everything. And honestly, I think when I email the students or when I post on the classroom, I think that's more effective than making an announcement over a loudspeaker. I think more kids read it, conceptualize it, and understand it in the long run than who maybe hear an announcement over the loudspeaker during a very noisy first period class, you know? So just that simple little thing, I'm able to advocate for the program and what I have going on through that. So yeah, definitely 21st century.
So do you think that this is, so if your school does not subscribe to the classroom aspect, are there still useful things for any librarian to implement?
Yes, absolutely, because classroom is just one component of all of the different, what they used to call, you know, the apps that I'm going to be talking about. I will be talking about those basics, Drive and Docs and Slides and Calendar. I'm going to bring sites into it a little bit, as well as third-party integration, like with Gale products and Noodle Tools and Destiny, which is where our BOCES is going next year with the single sign-on for Destiny. But I'm also really interested in the participants participating a little bit. You know, I have some structures set up, I went to a few workshops that had really great examples of how to encourage group participation. I really don't want to stand in front of a crowd and talk for 45 minutes. That's not fun for anybody. So I have, you know, maybe 30 minutes worth of content, and I'd love for everybody else to contribute the other 15 minutes, more of like an unconference, you know, that concept where the participants, the workshop participants can help build the knowledge, because I'm definitely not using everything in every way possible. I'm just highlighting a few things with you know, instructions and step-by-steps for how to do it yourself. And doing this whole process sort of gives people insight into my program. So outside of, okay, here's the G Suite and how I'm using it, which is my presentation, it's, oh, this is how Anna Rose does book clubs in her middle school. And that information's right there too. And I can, of course, be available for questions after the presentation if anybody's interested, that kind of stuff.
That's fantastic. I'm really sad that we're at the same time, because it sounds like we have a very similar approach to just taking the opportunity to share ideas. So like you're bringing your stuff to the table, but it's also really nice to just hear what everybody's doing and check in with everybody. So it's going to be a great presentation. So once again, that is going to be at 11:15 on Saturday in Roosevelt B. And Rose Foley will be talking about education in the school library, administration and advocacy for the 21st century librarian. Anna Rose, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone there.
Absolutely. We will see you in Buffalo.